The Junior World Championship sled dog race was indeed a much different race. We had to race 3 days in a row. The total time after 3 days of racing would determine the winner, the Junior World Champion. Our practicing continued every night. One night, Dad showed Kelly how to put wax on the runners so the sled would go faster. I thought that was ridiculous. I did the pulling and Kelly did the kicking. We made the sled go fast, not something on the runners. The night before the first day of the race, I dreamed not of my mother, but of a dozen other dogs. They were of different sizes and colors, but they ran as perfectly matched team. Their rhythm was joyous. I realized I was part of the team, harnessed among the other dogs, surrounded by their exhilaration. I was one of them. We could run forever. We didn't. I was still asleep when Kelly came downstairs and started making her breakfast. She was too excited to do more than pick at her food. I was too nervous to beg for leftovers. The racetrack was jammed with trucks and people. Sleds were being unloaded and strings of dogs were tied everywhere. All of the dogs looked bigger than me and looked fast and formidable. I tried not to let that worry me. Kelly and I were so excited it was hard for us to wait for our turn. I went to the bathroom 4 times before we went to the starting line. Kelly went twice. I decided not to let those big out-of-town dogs bother me. This was my track. I had raced and won here. I kept telling myself this race would be just like the others, except we'd have to do it 3 times. Maybe it was the excitement of all the people watching, or maybe it was the challenge of all those other dogs. But as soon as we left the starting line, I realized this race would be different. The trail was hard and fast. I could scarcely feel the sled behind me. Once I even looked back to see if Kelly had forgotten to get on the runners. It was almost like as if I were surrounded by the dogs from my dream. I was using their imagined strength and blending it with my own. I soared down the track without even thinking of the other teams we had to beat. When our run was complete, a few people took my picture. I was so hot that I ate some snow while I waited for my liver and water. Kelly was pacing back and forth, waiting for all the teams to finish. Then we heard the voice high in the sky. Then we heard the voice high in the air say, "Here are the times and places for the first day of racing in the one-dog class. In first place, with a time of 1 minute and 21 seconds, is Kelly." We never heard the rest because everyone was yelling and jumping up and down. It didn't matter to me what else the voice said. I had heard what I needed to hear. We were in first place. Now we just had to stay there. The second day of racing was almost like the first. Kelly and I worked so hard we almost melted the trail. That day I wasn't so nervous. I was able to look at the other dogs without feeling small. I finally figured out that being small wasn't something to be ashamed of. It was just the way I was. After the second day, we were still in first place, but only by 5 seconds. If I could work just as hard the last day as I did the first 2, we could be junior world champions of the one-dog class. I was eager for sleep that night, hoping that once again I would become part of that wild imaginary team and draw strength from it. But I had no dreams that night. It was a night of thick darkness. I woke up feeling rested, yet somehow depleted. Could I really win? Did I have what it takes to be a great sled dog? Could I follow in my mother's paw steps? Once we arrived at the track, I felt like the spark was gone. I knew I had the ability, but I wasn't sure if I could command it. Panicky, I tried to block out the noise, the crowd, the sights, the scents. of the other dogs at the track. The only thing I could think about was how proud my mother and Michael would be if they could see me, if they could have seen me. Because we had the fastest time, we were the first team to race. As I was waiting at the starting line for the high voice to say go, I looked over at Dad one last time before we started to race. I couldn't believe what I saw. Dad was talking to Michael. I shook myself all over as if to shake off new fallen snow that wasn't falling. Michael had come to see me race, I said to myself. All right, Michael, you've come to see a sled dog race. Just watch me. I was thinking too much. Every step was for Michael. I wanted to show him that I had become a good sled dog after all. I was so busy thinking about Michael that I almost forgot to turn on the trail through the trees. Kelly yelled at me just in time, or I would have missed the turn. I was afraid I wasted precious seconds, but when we crossed the finish line, everybody was cheering and screaming. I walked proudly to the truck to get my treat and wait for the other teams to finish. Michael patted me on the head and said, Judy, you are a great sled dog. I wish you were on my team. Dad must not have told him about my new name, but it didn't matter what he called me. I knew he still loved me, and I was on Kelly's team now. I was part of her family. I knew he understood. It seemed to take forever for the other teams to finish. Then we heard what we were waiting to hear. The high voice boomed, the winner of the junior one dog world championship sled dog race is Kelly and her dog Foxy. My legs felt like we had just won the Iditarod. I had to sit down in the middle of the cheering people who were hugging Kelly and taking endless pictures of all of us. We had a big celebration that night. I was even able to have a piece of cake without having to beg some from Kelly. Everyone was having a good time until Dad told Kelly that if she wanted to race next year, she would have to race in the two-dog class. He said, we'll have to get another dog to race with Foxy. My cake didn't taste good anymore. Why did we need another dog? I was a world champion. I didn't want to share my family, to share my yard, or teach another dog to race. For the next few days, all Kelly talked about was this new dog. I wasn't sure if I ever wanted to race again. I didn't want to teach some rookie how to race. This new dog would probably just slow me down or embarrass me. The day finally came. Kelly and Dad left in the truck to get the new dog. They didn't even take me along, and I was glad. I sulked around the house until I heard the truck pull into the driveway. Mom took me out to the front porch to meet this new dog. The first thing I saw was this new dog sitting in my spot in the front seat of the truck. That made me mad. I thought this dog has a lot to learn. The front seat is mine. There was something familiar about the dog, but the glare on the windshield made it difficult to see the dog clearly. When they let the dog out of the truck, I took a good, long, angry look, and then I froze. This new dog was Rosie, my mother. I jumped in the air like the people at the race. I ran to her and kissed her all over. She kissed me, and we rolled in the snow like puppies. I couldn't wait for the races next year. I would be running with one of the best sled dogs in the world. Her years on the trail could teach me so much. Maybe we could win the Junior World Championship two-dog class. But more importantly, for now, I hope there would be room for both of us in the front seat of our truck. Ed White retired from racing in 1995. He now lives in Pennsylvania with his wife Sandy. Kelly graduated from Penn State University in May of 2000. If you would like to email Ed and ask a question or comment on the book, you may do so at foxystale@hotmail.com. Donna Friedman was a features reporter at the Anchorage Daily News in Anchorage, Alaska. Her writing has won a number of regional and national awards. She is a member of American Mensa and of Sisters in Crime, and is also the author of City Smart Anchorage. I hope you have enjoyed Foxy's Tale, and I would be happy to answer any of your questions. If you would like to email me at foxystale@hotmail.com. Thank you.